Hey everyone, this is just a quick bonus video. This is an introductory video to my Sweet Home playthrough that's going to be coming up. Tomorrow will be a Game Music Appreciation Theater featuring the music from Sweet Home. And then starting on Wednesday will be the very first part of Sweet Home put up. And it will go from, starting on Wednesday, it will go probably a full week, all the way till actually probably Thursday of next week. In which case then Friday on Halloween itself I will be putting up the complete playthrough of Nightmare on Elm Street. But why I'm doing this video is I just want to do a quick little video about Sweet Home. You're seeing, just showing you this is actual footage from my playthrough of the game. Just kind of, just raw footage of the game and all. And I just kind of want to give a little introduction to the game and tell you a little bit about it and tell you about my upcoming playthrough of it because this is the first RPG that I'm running through. And basically what Sweet Home is, it's a brilliant game. If you've never played Sweet Home before, I hugely recommend it. It's kind of the granddaddy of survival horror games. There's actually some elements that were basically taken from this game and used in the Resident Evil series. Now, this was made by Capcom, so I don't think it's any coincidence that Capcom would have drawn some inspiration from this game in their later Resident Evil franchise. And it's like pure brilliance of 8-bit era. Like, it's too bad this game was never brought over. It has some themes in it because it is a horror-based game. Some of the themes in the storyline, which I'll get into in the actual run of the game, that would probably have had to been censored out, and that's probably why it never made it here. I know there was some prototype cartridges of the game that were slightly being translated or made. I'm not sure if one actually exists. I'm sure if it does, it's worth, like, huge amounts of money. But basically what Sweet Home is an RPG with survival horror elements. You have 5 characters that you play as in the game, and you can have a party of 3 at any time. And you switch between your party members at any time as well, and you need to do that a lot, not only to team up certain party members, but also to use all the different party members' items. There's 5 characters, and all 5 characters have a unique item that you're going to need at certain points. One is a healer. It uses a med kit to kind of heal your poison, heal your curses, to make sure that you don't, die, which I'll get into dying in just a second. Another character has a key, which you are seeing actually being used right now, to open up all the locked doors for the most part. Now, there are other locked doors that you need certain keys to get to, but a majority, especially at the beginning of the game, a majority of the doors are opened with the key that the one character holds. Another character holds a lighter, which is used not only to light candles, of course, but is also used to burn through ropes that are randomly placed throughout the game. Another person uses a camera. He's like the cameraman of the game. I'll tell you a little bit about the story in a little bit. But basically he takes pictures of all these different paintings that are throughout the game that give you hints on what to do next. Now, during my playthrough, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't go through any of these. I really don't take any pictures of the stuff in the game, just for time constraints, which I'll explain a little bit more. And then the last character, the only character I haven't explained yet, uses a vacuum cleaner. She's actually a main character, and you actually use the vacuum to suck up broken pieces of glass that block your way. Now, I don't know why you can't walk over the glass necessarily. It's just glass. It should hurt, but it shouldn't hurt like that bad or anything, but for some reason it completely obstructs your way, and you have to use the vacuum to get around it. Really not a burden or anything, but it makes her character very useful. Now, in the game, it's an RPG, like I've mentioned probably 6 times by now, but what it is when you die in the game, your character's dead. You cannot bring them back to life. Now, there are healing items throughout the game. You have these tonics. There's 21, I think, tonics throughout the entire game that you can pick up and use. They take up an item spot apiece. Each character has 2 item spots and a weapon spot. And that's all they have, plus a spot where they hold their special items. So 4 total. One's always taken up by the special item that you can't replace. 2 of them are blank, and 1 of them is going to be used for your weapon. So managing your item spots is very crucial to getting through the game. So you're really not going to be able to hold on to many of the healing items throughout the game. You kind of just got to remember where you found them or where you put them, because you can switch out your items at any time. Like if you have an item but you need to pick up something, you can switch it around so you drop the one item and end up picking up the other one, and the one will remain where you left it. But it comes down to managing your spots in your inventory, similar to Resident Evil would use, mainly Resident Evil 0, especially when you were able to place items anywhere where you were going throughout that game. Now on to really about my actual playthrough of the game. This is an RPG. I've said it 1,000 times already, but for it, of course, there's a lot of random battles. Now, as you're already seeing in my little clip I have of this playing, I'm going to run from almost every battle in the game. I'm warning ahead of time. Don't expect a lot of random battles of me actually fighting. Later in the game, when I get some of the better equipment, I'll fight random battles throughout just to kind of speed through them to get them done, because it'll be quicker to kill the enemy than it would be to run away from them. The thing is, for my actual training, and you have to train in this game, and I'll explain why, but for it, I'm actually going to edit out all the training I do. I don't like to train a whole lot in games. I don't like to waste time training or building up things. In my previous runs, my recent runs of Battle of Olympus and Faxanadu, I spend time actually in the game, while I was talking and doing the commentary. I actually showed the footage of me training and building up money. I won't be doing that in Sweet Home. I'm not going to bore you with, like, an hour of me just walking back and forth fighting the same dog monster over and over and over again. The thing is, you're going to see a whole bunch of me randomly getting into battles, and I'm just going to kind of talk through most of them. I run away from just about every single battle I get into throughout most of the game, so that's a warning ahead of time. So if you expect to see that, I'm sorry, I'm not going to include all that footage in the game, in my playthrough of it. Also, I'm not going to be doing the pictures, like I mentioned with the photographer earlier. I'm not going to be doing all those, which I've already previously mentioned, as well as there's some other stuff in the game that I'm not going to be doing. There's actually a bunch of rooms I won't even be entering in my run, because it's not necessarily to get through the game. Now, I actually had to do the playthrough of the game several times, once because of a mess up I had to redo it, and I actually got a really decent time. When I edited out all the training and stuff, it comes in at a very good time. It's actually an hour and a half long, which I think is a pretty decent length, considering it is a role-playing RPG game. So my playthrough is about an hour and a half long of it. And like I said, all the actual training is edited out. And I do the absolute minimum amount of training. And what I mean by that is you have certain times in the game where you have to use these prayer points. Now, prayer points are basically like your magic in any other RPG, like your MP points, your magic points. But in this game, you have prayer points. And you have to use them in front of certain objects. For example, early in the game, you have a statue that you need to pray in front of in order to get a spear out of its hand. It'll actually release the spear, and then you go to another statue and put the spear in its hand, and then you have to pray again, and then basically it opens up an entrance to get farther into the game, which is actually really cool. The thing about it is, even though you may have the prayer points to be able to successfully get past the area, if you're below a certain level, it just tells you flat out, you're too low of a level to be able to do this and continue. So, those areas, I have to be a certain level in order to get through. Now, the training to get to most of those things, I'm going to have, like I said, I'm going to have it not shown in the video, so I'll just kind of get to that point, edit when I did training, and then go right into where, what a natural part of me praying in front of the item in order to continue. There's only like 3 areas where that's really becomes a problem. One training area I do is about 25 minutes into the run, that I get to an area where it's good to train. So I build a bunch of levels up so I don't have to do it later, and it makes the game a little bit easier to manage being able to get through battles. Another time I train is late in the game, and then I train one last time right before the final area of the game that I'll do an edit. So it's going to be a total of 3 edits throughout it that block out me, like I said, edit out me training. But I thought I would go ahead and do an introductory video. One reason is because I just had to redo the entire playthrough of it recently, and it was going to take an extra day to get the video up, so I figured, because I hadn't posted anything for a couple of days, I would make sure I post this. Tomorrow, like I said, will be a Game Music Appreciation Theater. Wednesday will be the beginning of the Sweet Home Play It Through. I hope you enjoy it. If you've never played the game before, play the game definitely. Watch my video, it may help you get through it. Like I said, it's not going to be a complete walkthrough. There is a very detailed walkthrough on game FAQs. That will help you get through the game if you have any problems. But it's one of those games that's really fun to just go into and try to figure your way through it without any help. It's really not that well known because it never came here. I know it has like a cult following now, but it's an absolute brilliant game, and I hope you will enjoy my playthrough of it. So thanks for watching this video, and of course, I hope you enjoy.